Welcome back to Open Line. We have with us immigration attorney Elliot Osment. We were talking about what was set up at the legislature today. A lot to discuss. Let's go to Jay. Hello, Jay, on line one.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Hi, what's on your mind?
I just had a couple of questions. I'm still studying all this, and I do feel sorry for the kids. Those kids are pitiful, and they interviewed one mother, and she's worried about her kids getting raped and her getting raped from the ISIS people. But I just wondered what his thoughts were on the. I know some lawmakers are talking about. I've heard rumors about trying to close mosques, and I just wondered what his thoughts were on that. And I'll hang up and listen. Thank you, sir.
The idea of closing mosques in Tennessee. Okay, what are your thoughts?
Well, of course, my thoughts are that that would be a strict violation of the Constitution. If any law enforcement officer tried to do that anywhere in this state, he would find himself in federal court so fast that he wouldn't probably have time to put the lock on the door of the mosque before he'd find himself in court and facing an emergency court order directing him to unlock any door that he had already locked.
Which sounds fairly obvious. What this has done is ignited a very difficult debate, and we're hearing some very, very heated rhetoric. And as somebody that deals with immigration reform and immigration rights, how concerned are you by some of the stuff you're hearing?
Well, I'm very concerned about it. We are very alarmed at this kind of talk that simply stirs up hatred and stirs up harsh feelings toward the poorest and the hardest suffering people that have come to America. We've forgotten our way. We have lost our memory about what has made this country great. We used to welcome people that were being persecuted because of their religion. It didn't matter what religion it was. We've lost our way. It reminds me of a true story that happened in 1939. Not many people recall this, but there was an event called the Kristallnacht, where Hitler's troops went on a rampage and broke store window front glass windows and scattered glass all over the cities there in Europe. And about that time, there was a ship called the ship St. Louis that came to Florida. It was on its way to Cuba, and it had over 900 Jews on it. And it tried to land at Cuba. Cuba had given these people visas, but then revoked them. And so they were stuck on that ship, and that ship went to Miami and then went to ports all the way up and down the east coast of the United States. And no matter where they went, these 900 Jews were refused admission into the United States.
That's into the United States?
Yes.
During the time of World War II, right before World War II?
That was in 1939.
So, and I'm going to start taking calls in a minute, but your point was we've lost our way today, and that we used to welcome immigrants. But there's plenty of history where that wasn't the case.
Oh, we have gone through episodes just like this. It started as early as the Alien and Sedition Acts, way back in the very first years of our republic. And so we've had waves of xenophobia. Nearly every nationality has been persecuted as they've come to this country. The Chinese were persecuted. The Germans were persecuted. The French, all of them, all groups have been persecuted. And my point in talking about the Jews on the St. Louis ship was that for many years, historians looked back upon that as a black mark, that surely we would not repeat that. Surely we've matured enough as a country not to do that again. And now look at us.
Let's go to Elmer. Hello, Elmer. Elmer, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Go right ahead.
All right, sir. I'm a Vietnam veteran. I fought 2 years. I spent 2 years in Vietnam to protect my freedom here. And if they want them over here, let them take them and put them in the house with them, and let them be responsible for them. If they mess up, let them answer for it. And then see how that goes over with them.
So you're saying let people that want them here...
Fancy lawyer there, and all of them people that's wanting to bring them refugees over here, let them move up in the house with them, and let them be responsible for them.
Okay. So it sounds like you have some concerns. You obviously have some concerns about it.
Oh.
What do you say about that?
Well, first of all, I say to this veteran, thank you, sir, so much for your service to this country. You're one of the people that fought hard to make this country what it is, and I respect you for doing what you did. Now, you and I might disagree about these refugees. I wish I could take them in, but my house is not big enough to take in all the widows and orphans that need help right now. But I can tell you what I have observed in my office, and that is that some of the nicest, gentlest, and hardest working people I have ever met in my 68 years of life have been immigrants. They are second to none in how much and how hard they work and how much they love this country. They have gone through so much suffering to even come here and they would do anything and give anything to stay here and to get the legal credentials to stay here. And so I say all of that to say that I trust them.
So if that is true for 99%, and then there's 1% that is here to do bad stuff. So 99% are exactly what you said. And then there's 1% that's, I think, what concerns people. How do you allay the concerns people may have about that? That within all of the people that are deserving, there may be some threats.
Well, I say that we certainly have the wherewithal to spot those people, to identify those people, and to deport them. I would like to point out something to your viewers about this current wave of terrorism that hit Paris. It might not have occurred to your viewers that not a single one of the people that were involved in the Paris attacks were refugees from Syria. They were homegrown terrorists. They were people that grew up in France. Jihadi John, that had joined the ISIS network, grew up in Great Britain. And others of these people lived in Belgium for years. These were not people from Syria. These were people that were homegrown in the countries they attacked.
Let's go to Taylor. Hello, Taylor.
Good evening. I wouldn't want to debate this attorney concerning this because he's been at it a long time and made much money between the client and the federal courts especially. But I would say this, the 900 Jews that were on the ship and all of the Italian immigrants and so forth that came were not brought up with jihad as a principle that they have been taught all their life and are ready and willing to cut the heads off of any and all non-believers. Secondly, as far as the states are concerned, the federal government places all of these folks directly to about a dozen organizations private organizations, such as Catholic charities and so forth, and nobody in the state is told they're even there. They don't tell the state director of Homeland Security, the governor, or anyone else that they are being placed in your state. Now, the state has to spend money on these folks. They have to educate them. Many of them qualify for a lot of different services. So the states do have a very sincere interest in who's in their state and what it's costing them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about both those things. He's talking about it's different now. The level of violence is different now than it was with that ship back in 1939, the ship you were talking about that wouldn't be allowed to dock. And so there's this violence now that wasn't there before. And then there's the services and the money issue. What do you say to what you heard there?
Well, first of all, let's talk about the level of violence. I don't think the level of violence is all that different at all. In fact, I think it was even more violent back in World War II with an insane man like Adolf Hitler leading the charge against Jews and against other people in the European countries. He was an insane man, and no holds barred. I would ask your viewers to go back and view some of the films of how these Jews were persecuted that could not escape the camps, the concentration camps that the Nazis established, and then tell me that things are worse today than they were then. There's no comparison.
Okay, all right, we're going to take a break. A bunch of calls, so hold on the line. Come back, we'll just go through the phones. We're going to go through the calls. So hold on, take a break, be back right after this.